Hi guys. Are we live? This is Kim Marshall. Here we are. It's Tuesday in May, one of the last Tuesdays in May. We're doing the Global Wellness Summit Leader Livecast. And today we have a very special guest, an old friend of mine from Turkey, the founder of Global Wellness Day. You know, I've been through so much with this wonderful woman, and I have to tell you, I was like, I don't need notes today. I know this story, but we don't want to forget one thing, because it's so cool to think back that Belgin is a cancer survivor, and she had a dream. She realized how precious health was. It's another thing that we can think about right now with COVID. We finally realized the importance of wellness, right? And she thought when she got through it, she was like, what are we not realizing our priorities? And she said, you know, they have Donut Day, they have Identical Twin Day, National Puppy Day, National Jelly Bean Day. Why can't they have a day dedicated to wellness? So she took her dream and ran with it. And it, you know, she comes from a family of hoteliers that own hotels and shopping centers and things like that in Turkey. And she started on her own in one city in Turkey and had this celebration for global wellness. I think it's 2012 was when it started. But I met Belgin in 2014. I had seen her before because you'll see, she's arrestingly beautiful. And you kind of wonder, who's that girl? And then someone told me that she came from a family of hoteliers. And I met her. I'll just tell you this funny story while we wait for her to join. I saw her at a conference, said hello, and then at another conference a few months later for the spa industry, I was in the bathroom, and I see her walk in, and I was like, oh, I really love your boots. And she said, what is it you do again? I can't remember. I said, oh, we make, oh, there she is, yeah. We make brands even more famous. Okay, well, there we go. I asked her what address she was using, and she started laughing. Waiting for Belgin, connecting. Hi, honey.
Hello, how are you?
I've been, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and it's still messages are coming in. But anyway, I have been bragging about you to my friends that are online already and how we met. Oh, sorry, we have dogs. What are we going to do? Come on. I just was telling them about our bathroom meeting.
Oh my God, yes, in Vegas.
Yeah, and I said, I said, I liked your boots. And you said, well, what is it you do again? Natalie, come. What is it you do again? And she said, and you said, well, you asked me, and I said, we make brands even more famous. And she said, you know, I need that. I have this dream. And then you told me.
I remember it like yesterday.
Yeah, you told me a dream. I told you what we can do. And I left the bathroom and called our dear friend, the most amazing, wonderful, late Charlene Florence. And I said, Charlene, is Belgin for real? And she said, funny, because Belgin just called me and asked me that about you. And so the rest is history. I'm going to get on the memory train and say that. But while everybody's here, I'm waving to everybody. Can you tell us what your dream was for Global Wellness Day so I don't have to do it?
My dream was to make everybody realize what I realized, that first of all, health is the most precious thing that we have, and we need to understand the importance of health before losing it. I kind of understood the importance of it after I lost it, but actually it's, you know, we don't have to go through health challenges to understand the importance of it. And also, you know, now with the pandemic, of course, the whole world is aware of how important our health is, and that's the only thing that matters, because then all the rest of the problems we can actually solve. But if you don't have your health,
what
you have nothing. And also to appreciate the little things in life, like hugging your loved ones. When I was quarantined for 9 days at the hospital for my therapy, there I realized how important it was to not be able to touch your loved ones, and to not to see them, to not to hug them, and you know, all these things that we take for granted. And actually,
how old was your baby boy then, Belgin?
He was 17 months old. I was 29 years old. Yeah, when I look back, I can tell you I'm definitely very thankful that I went through that, because, you know, it was a nice elbow that the universe gave me, and said, hey, you know what, you better wake up. Like, you know, because I was worrying too much, and I wasn't very sure about myself, and I gave too much importance to what the other people said, and I was not a good communicator. I was not talking enough. I was not expressing myself.
I
I was
can't believe
swallowed.
that.
Yeah, can you believe that? Look what became afterwards. Now I can't shut up.
We're always talking. Yeah.
So yeah, so I realized that we must not swallow our words, and we should express ourselves. And life is too short. Life is too short to keep your words for yourself, and you gotta let it out.
Belgin, let me ask you, when you decided to do this, what does your name mean? I know you got on stage at the Global Wellness Summit one time and you said, look, my parents named me this and I'm really living up to it. And what does it mean?
Clear.
Clear. Yeah. You have a clear focus. I'm going to take people down memory lane with us. No one's going to believe it. Okay. So when you said, I said, we make brands more famous. She said, okay. We said, we'll do a press trip and we'll come to Turkey. Now that was a big dream for me because I heard that Turkey was so stunning. But I was gobsmacked at the history. I mean, that was Constantinople, Istanbul. But, you know, I'm in PR. We have done in travel, we've done a zillion press trips, Tahiti, everywhere. And I could not believe the itinerary you made. It was printed and bound, and every day was more glorious than the next. And the Blue Dome and what's our river? What's the famous river down the middle of Istanbul?
Bosphorus?
The Bosphorus.
And it's not a river.
Oh, it's a sea. Oh, it's a sea. And this side is Asia. This side is Europe. No, it was so amazing. And then we ended up in your family's destination spa, the only one in Turkey, called Richmond Nua, and it's on Lake Sapanca. I know that. I can say that. And it was just, oh, I just keep remembering the buffet of food. I wanted to rub my face in it, all those walnuts and that cheese. And your wonderful general manager, Hakan, who's on here now. Hi, Hakan. But then you had your Global Wellness Day celebration. I thought, well, what might this be? And tell us about that one. It was 2014. What did you do that year?
Well, first of all, as you remember, we changed the date because you were supposed to come in April, and we've changed it to June because I thought, you know, the last day of the trip could be on Wellness Day, which we used to call it back then, if you remember. It wasn't even called Global Wellness Day.
Right, because it was in Turkey, right.
I had a vision, you know, this much, I think. So, so we changed the dates, and, you know, you guys were okay with coming on in June. And at the end, after you left, you know, I was actually quite sad. I don't know if we ever talked about that. No, because it was like, you know, a week, 10 days or 2 weeks passed, and I was, you know, very eager to learn, like, in which magazines or in which portals we were going to see about Richmond. You know, I wasn't even thinking that you guys would write about Wellness Day. And then I realized, no, really, that was not my purpose. I just wanted it to be fun and interesting for you, you know, for the press trip. That's why I changed the date of the press trip. And then I realized that most of the news were about Wellness Day, and, you know, it was like a little paragraph about Richmond and bigger about Wellness Day, and especially the interview that came out at Huffington Post that really changed the whole thing. Yeah. With Valerie Frankel.
Well, what people need to understand is that I said to you, you know what, Belgin, you sound like you have an agenda. You have an itinerary of things happening. You know, would you mind if we did a panel with a journalist about why wellness now? And when we walked in, it was like you had an auditorium, you had translators, you had done PR ahead of time. So our faces were in newspapers in Istanbul saying, big wellness panel, blah, blah, blah. So we were quite famous in Istanbul. And we were so moved by it. Do you remember the next step was Morocco, and you were on that panel about what does wellness mean to you? Remember?
Yes, of course.
And that is where you introduced it's backwards, but right?
You thought I didn't have it. Of course I have it
No,
right
I
next
did
to
not.
me.
Tell me, what is the purpose of the paddle? What was the purpose of the paddle in 2020?
What happened in 2014, before the panel, actually, there was this competition, if you remember, and it was about explain the future of wellness with a 1-minute infographic.
Yes.
Or a video graphic.
Right.
And there was 40 or 42 different countries that were competing. And of course, the video that we prepared was about Global Wellness Day. We saw the future was about Global Wellness Day, and that was the winner of the competition. So that already kind of got the attention at the 3-day Global Wellness Summit. And then the breakout session, we talked about, it was about destination spas, and Susie was very nice to ask me if I wanted to introduce Global Wellness Day to the delegates at that breakout session. And I did. And were you there? Were you at the breakout session?
Yes, I was there.
Yeah.
You and I had talked about what you were going to say. Yeah.
All these paddles were under the chairs. And you remember, like in Morocco, they kind of they put like these little dresses on the chairs, so you can't really see what's under the chair. And we did hide all the pedals under the chairs. And at the end of my presentation, I asked the delegates, if I said, so do you agree? Do you say yes to Global Wellness Day? And they said yes. And I said, well, then look under your chair and hold it up. And then they looked and they saw the pedals and they hold it up.
But here's what people don't know is that was a panel where everybody spoke about what wellness meant to them. And then you got up and said, it means this, it means that. And it was so moving. And everyone was like crying. So if you believe it, then help us spread the word. And that's where you got your first ambassadors, wasn't it, Belgin?
No, now you're talking about the general session where all the host of the breakout sessions got up on the main stage and talks about their forums. And there, I said, these are the highlights of the forum. And then at the end, because Frank Pizzicalis, actually, from Canada, just before I got up on stage, he gave me the idea. He's like, so why don't you ask people if they say yes to Global Wellness Day to stand up? And I said, Frank, but what if they don't stand up? And he's like, well, don't worry about it. I know like the psychology in these kind of rooms, I will stand up, someone else will stand up, and then you'll see at the end, everybody's going to stand up. And that was quite risky because, imagine I say, so if you say yes to Global Wellness Day, please stand up. And you have like 400 people in front of you and nobody stands up. So what do? I
know, right.
But thank God, everybody, the whole room, and you were there, stood up. And then when I went up on stage for the second time to get my award for the infographic competition, there I said, well, now we are 400 people from wellness industry. The thought leaders of the wellness industry are here. And if we don't do something about it, who will?
Yeah.
With Global Wellness Day, we can change the world. And so I said, I would like every country to have a Global Wellness Day ambassador. And if you're interested with it, please email me. And then there was like 2 more sessions, and then there was the champagne toast, and the summit was over. So I remember, I was trying to pack my things up, the files and this and that. And Hakon was, I think, 3 seats next to me, and he was trying to do the same. And a friend of mine, Yeshim, is saying I would stand up also.
I know, there's so many nice comments from around the world. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening.
So, so I said, no, so somebody was, tapping on my shoulder and said, like, so here's my business card. I would like to be the ambassador of, I don't remember which country. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And then he was like, but please send me, all the, send me a deck about Global Wellness Day, what it's all about. And I said, of course, I'll send you everything. So
I know that feeling. I know.
Oh, my God. Oh, I can send it to one person. What's the problem? And then it was just it's a scene I will never, ever forget in my whole life. Like, I kept on turning and I just couldn't pack my stuff because I was continuously turning back, and there was someone else and someone else. And then I said, okay, bag, and just stop trying to pack. turn around and look behind. And I looked behind and there was a long queue behind me. And people were with these business cards in their hands. And when I was on plane with Hakan, we looked at each other and then we were like, I say yes forever. Thank you. When I said, Hakan, so what do we do now? Like, what? I was like, what the hell was I thinking when I said that sentence at that stage? What am I going to send to these people? You know, there's no planning. Since it's not a business, there's no business plan. There's no marketing plan. There's no stuff. There's like nothing. There's just this ideas in my mind. And there's also, you know, I also have a business that I have to take care of, other than Global Wellness Day. So, and then it was just crazy 3 years.
Let me.
I remember they were calling me the crazy woman with the paddle. You remember? I had that kind of a nickname.
I am in marketing and branding and PR, and I want you to know that there's never been this simple thing. Everybody wears magenta or pink, and holding this paddle and taking a picture, it's the easiest thing. Now the rest of the world is like, what can we hold? We can't have a circle paddle because Belgin took it. But I'm just going to give the timeline. What I love about our relationship, Belgin, is I'll always call you and go, Belgin, I have an idea. Just believe in it for 5 minutes and see what you think. And then you'll always take a minute because you're very clear, like your name, and then you'll go, okay, let's do it. So one of the things that I came to you with was, I said, you know, you need celebrities because I'm going to try to do it. You got Richard Branson. I'm going to see if I can get this picture to show. I don't know if it will. See, it doesn't. Now I lost you. Sorry. There. But if you touch it the right way, pictures come up. Isn't that amazing? I'm going to show this. See that? You got Richard Branson. That's you and Richard Branson, but I don't know how to move it. Anyway.
That's all right. We can see his beard.
Yeah. And then I said, you know, there's the Emmys coming up and they have a gifting suite. You know, maybe you could give away trips to Richmond Nua and you'll get in front of celebrities. And you said, look, I don't care about that. We can give them trips to Turkey, but I want them to say yes to global wellness. And what was so brilliant is, what's the negative there? What the star of the Big Bang Theory, the one that married Sheldon, she stood there and said, I'll shill for wellness, no problem. And that started in the first year. You went from 0 to 63 countries celebrating Global Wellness Day. And now, last year, before, you know, COVID, we reached 150 countries and 6 continents and like 4,000 locations. And then
7,000.
Oh my God. Okay. Now tell them about the morning that you called me and said, Kim, I can't breathe after last year. Go ahead.
Yeah. And last year's Global Wellness Day, it was the end of our celebration, you know, in Turkey. And one of my friends sent me a message with an Instagram link, and she's like, I'm sure you've seen this, but I just wanted to say, you know, this is really wow. And I'm like, and I click and I see that it takes me to the Instagram account of Oprah, and it's still loud around me and I can't hear what she's saying. I'm like, why is she sending me this, you know? And then I was like trying to like put it like inside my ear to really hear what she's saying. And then I'm like, no. Like, she can't be saying Global Wellness Day, because I never reached out to Oprah. Never, ever. I did reach out to celebrities, but I never reached out to her. I never asked for her support. It didn't even come to my mind because I thought, you know, like,
that's not going to happen. That's not
exactly.
Yeah.
So I had to listen to it like for 5-6 times, and then I realized that she was saying, hey Gail, you know what day is today? Today is Global Wellness Day. And then I called you and I said, I didn't know what to call. I mean, you know, she's in the US and you're in the US, and I'm like, I think I should call Kim and she'll tell me, I have this jewel in my hand. What do I do with it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we traced it because Global Wellness Summit is involved with Weight Watchers, WW, and so is Oprah, and the word trickled down. What is the harm in a day dedicated to wellness? So I just think people should know, I mean, I'm an ambassador, one of the original. I try to look young and not that old, but the really cool thing is that I get to collate all the information from all the countries and put it into a press release. Okay, that sounds cool. It's very hard because there's so much. Like last year, it was like a 6 or 7 page release that we just put on the site. We'd make a short 400-word one for the press.
Yeah.
But like the Netherlands, Costa Rica, Kenya, Hungary, the Cayman Islands, France, Thailand, Dominican Republic, China, South Africa. And if you read what people are doing, what are some of the celebrations that have touched your heart the most over these years, these 5 years?
Oh, the visits to the elderly people's houses that they do every year in Brazil. Now it became like a tradition, and they dance with the elderly, and they some of them, you know, they just sit down and talk to them because sometimes that's all they need, or they sing with them, or they play board games with them.
Yeah.
Another one is what they do in most of the schools around the world, and they ask the kids to draw what they understand from the word wellness. And you have to see the things that those kids put on paper with colors. It's amazing. And most of them are not with you know, mussels or with broccolis or anything like that, like, because most of the adults, the understanding, the perception of wellness is healthy eating and physical activity, right? Which is the wrong perception. But kids know better than us, and most of them put little hearts on that paper because they know that it's about love. Because if there is no love for yourself or for others, it doesn't matter if you're the fittest on earth, you know.
Let me tell you,
if your heart is not beating with love, then you know, you're just you know, I don't know, you're just He-Man, or you're just you're just a strong person. That's it.
did you see the comment, human connection has never been more important? There was so much we have to talk about. I'm just going to take about 10 more minutes of your time because there was so much. But like, listen to this. Cyprus, the main event will take place in the Limassol Marina Square with activities such as Zumba, health, nutrition workshops, meditation, and more. There'll be 20 individual spas and fitness clubs taking part with over 3,000 people attending. We did one with a client that was on the border of Mexico and Southern California below San Diego. And it was the only hotel in the surfer dude town. It was such a cool town. And the new mayor wanted it to be a fitness town because he was a biker, a swimmer, and a lifeguard, I guess. And he wanted everybody to, and there was a lot of Latino, 40% Latino in the population. So we took the lobby of the hotel and made it a wellness marketplace. And every hour, 8 a.m., roof, Zumba on, no, sorry, Tai Chi on the roof, you know, what's that called? Boot camp on the beach, nutrition, meditation, for free. What is your thing about free? Please tell us what that means.
What is my thing about free? Well, when I decided to create a day, which is called Global Wellness Day, if you don't know, I promised myself one thing, that I was not going to make 1 cent out of Global Wellness Day. And I was not going to let anyone make 1 cent out of Global Wellness Day as well, because the world does not need another commercial day. And my ultimate purpose actually is to take Global Wellness Day to the official calendar of the United Nations.
Yeah.
And the days that are at the official calendar of the United Nations are not commercial days. For example, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. Not that they're bad days, you know, but we all know that we are all triggered to go and buy something for our loved ones. But Global Wellness Day is not about that. And just like Earth Day or Water Day or Down Syndrome Day, like those days are at the official calendar of United Nations. And Global Wellness Day is a very good candidate. And I have the feeling that it will happen this year, because with the pandemic, you know, the purpose of wellness, the purpose of Global Wellness Day resonates more than ever. So I believe this year it will happen. So it's not about sponsors. It's not about making money. It's not about discounts. As you know, we only have two to celebrate Global Wellness Day. One, all the events have to be free of charge. Two, no one can make any discounts with the excuse of the day is Global Wellness Day. You know, things, products can be given for free. Wow. But cannot be sold. You know, they can prepare little samples, or they can, you know, hotels open their doors. Of course, they have an allocation of, say, 100 people, 200 people, but they open their doors to the public, and they say, you know what, you can actually walk through these doors today, have a little snack, sit down at our conference room and listen live to this expert, and then go and have I don't know, a yoga session, and then maybe take a juicing workshop. Yeah, and you don't have to be our hotel guest, and we have no expectation that we're not doing this so you become our guest one day. Maybe you're someone that will never ever be able to afford to be a guest at this, I don't know, 5-star luxury hotel. But we do it because we understand the idea behind Global Wellness Day. Well, and you know, like brands that anyone can think of, like 5-star luxury hotel brands, international hotel brands. If we can think of Hyatt, Hilton, Six Senses, you tell me, Marriott, all of them celebrate Global Wellness Day worldwide, and for free. And for free, yeah.
Well, the thing, someone just said, I love, my Sarah that works with me wrote, I love that Global Wellness Day is about giving to yourself. Someone else talked about your authenticity. It really does help. Now, what I tell people is, this is about education. Your tagline is, one day can change your life. One day can change your life. So say you've never tried Pilates. Say you've never thought you could juice. I'll also tell you about one day I met Giselle Fernandez, you know, my old friend Giselle Fernandez, and she was working with this children's charity. And they were doing a program at a inner city school where like 3 gang territories intersected. That's where that school was. So they let us celebrate Global Wellness Day on this day on a Saturday where these kids don't get exposed. We had juicing, we had poi balls, we had sound therapy, and they allowed it to be, you know, done on Global Wellness Day. How amazing. Now, we must, in the time remaining, talk about this year. We can't get meat in the market square. So what do you have up your sleeve, young lady, for Global Wellness Day?
Well, of course, we didn't cancel or postpone because it's not possible. I don't like to cancel or postpone anything. No. So we're still doing it, but in a different way. We're doing it in a different platform. It's not going to be a physical activity, but this time we're going to do it online. And we're not just going to do it online, but we're going to do something that has never been done before for any wellness event in the world, which is going to be making it 24-hour live event. And we'll go through 48 to 50 different countries. We're going to start in New Zealand, and we're going to end up somewhere in US. So it's actually going to be a little bit more than 24 hours with the time difference. But we have like 4 or 5 spots left. The whole schedule is almost fully booked. There has been some great interest from around the world. All the Global Wellness Day ambassadors are very excited. We have to mention about them as well. As you know, we call it Global Wellness Day family, and we're over 100 people, including yourself. And none of these people get paid or anything. Everybody is working voluntarily. These are all people with their own careers and families, and they're busy like many other people, but they find the time for Global Wellness Day because they believe in it, and they see how we can touch people's hearts and how many millions of people we actually can reach out to, and the ripple effect of love.
Of love. And let me tell you, if anybody doubts this, go look at that infographic. It's 1 minute long. It's on your website, page down till you see it, globalwellnessday.org, right? And
Exactly.
the first line is, when we talk about the biggest health issue
Health
facing
threats.
mankind, it is not a virus. You said that.
Exactly.
It's
Yes.
depression. It's depression. People don't think this is not about just a yoga class or jumping jacks. This is about mental wellness, which right
Exactly.
now is such a huge issue. What else do we need to know? I think we need to tell people to go to globalwellnessday.org. We also need to say, if you want to help, email, reach out at the contact button, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a new thing. Be patient with us. 24 hours online live is not easy. It's from the sun rising on one side of the globe to
Exactly.
setting on the other, right?
So the platforms that we're going to use is going to be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Twitch, and on Instagram, we're going to do the swipe up, because Instagram does not let you do any session more than an hour, as we have probably not much time left.
We better shut up. Look at who's here, our friend from European Spa Magazine. Hi, we love you.
Hello, who is it, Sarah?
Yeah.
Hi, hello. Well, I can tell you what's happening this year, if you like.
Just a few examples, and then we have to let people go, sadly.
Okay. So I have it in front of me. I'll read a little bit of it. We have celebrity yogi Andrew Seeley, leading astrologer Zahara Zimring, celebrity nutritionist Kimberly Schneider, top plant-based chef Matthew Kinney from Four Seasons Los Angeles, top energy healer Jeanette von Jonsbach, former model, talk show host, and celebrity cook Christina Ferrare, performing artist, actor, TV personality Reba McEntire, world champion professional Muay Thai athlete Janice Lin, writer, motivational speaker Metin Hara, and world record holder base jumper Cengiz Koçak will perform a live cliff wingsuit jump.
Woo! Let me show the people this picture I've been trying to show. Hold on. This is just one example. I don't know if you can see it, but there's so much that goes on around the world. It's my favorite. It's from kids jumping to a guy jumping out of a plane. It's the United Arab Emirates to everywhere. So this year it's going to be that way, only virtually. We have a client that is in Colorado, a hot springs resort, and the most beautiful, along a bend in a river. And they're going to show you how to build your immunity outside, what you can do, which is our only defense against this crazy virus.
Exactly.
But Belgin, what's one last thing? You have 1 minute to give people a message, a mission for this year. What would you like to share? In spite of COVID.
If we did not understand the importance of wellness this year, I'm afraid we're not going to be able to understand it for another 100 years with the next pandemic. So I think it's a lot more clear now what Global Wellness Day has been trying to underline since 8 years. And with our 9th year this year, like I said before, our mission has never made more sense. And I believe, Kubler-Ross grief cycle, denial, anger, depression,
That's right.
Bargaining and acceptance. We probably all went through this inside our houses for the last 2.5 months. And now it's really the time to accept. So we make a new plan and we move on. But this time the plan has to have, the core of the plan has to be, you have to have wellness in your life. And when I say wellness, I talk about physical, mental, and spiritual wellness, and to be in balance with our mind, soul, and heart. And we have to start loving ourselves. So you remember when I said love yourself, and you were like, love yourself sounds a little bit, weird in the US with the language. And so I think you changed your mind, right? Like now it makes more sense. Like, there's nothing wrong with loving yourself and hugging yourself, and I can be able to you know, say my sweetheart Kim and I can hold you. That's the only way. That's the only way for us to love each other. We have to start from ourselves. And if you love yourself, then you take care of yourself. You know, you eat better, you sleep better, you exercise, and you know, you listen to your heart, you meditate.
It's like on the airplanes, Belg, when they say put the mask on yourself
Exactly.
first and then save other people. You cannot help anyone else if you haven't started with yourself. Well,
Exactly.
we are going to jump off the line because this has been our longest Leader Livecast ever. We have so much to say. Belgin, let's tell everybody, right? Even if it's backwards. I say yes. Don't forget.
Say yes too.
We'll be communicating. GlobalWellnessDay.org. Follow on Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere. And thank you for around the world ambassadors and supporters for joining us today. You made us smile. Okay?
Thank you. Bye, Kim.
Bye-bye.
Bye.